Hello everybody and welcome. Thank you for joining. If you are logged on this early, you're probably watching the recording, so let me know you are here. Give me a hashtag replay and let me know where you're watching from, what part of the country or the world you're in. My name is Evelyn Knight. I am the Childcare Business Coach. I'm the founder and CEO of Childcare Business Professionals, which is a company that helps childcare business owners find success by automating their systems and by achieving high-quality research-based standards. I'm also the host of the Childcare Business Coach podcast, and I own a childcare center in Nevada. So throughout my time in ECE, I have actually owned 3 childcare centers, and we are actually looking at our 4th center now. So I know exactly what it's like. I'm in the trenches every day. I have opened a center that was owned by somebody else and running. I have taken a center that was shut down and reopened it, and I have built from the ground up. So I have a lot of experience. I have also experienced a lot of downfalls, right? I've actually almost faced bankruptcy a couple times, and I was able to build my center back up to where I am today, helping you guys learn the techniques and tools that I've learned in order to have a sustainable, successful childcare center. And that is my main goal, is just to really help centers find that success that I've been able to find, and just to get out of the area that I was once in. I know what it feels like and how hard it is to be struggling. And so if I can help owners and directors out there achieve success and really release that stress, then I've achieved one of my many goals for this company. So welcome and thank you guys. And as you come in, make sure that you let me know you're here. And it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to see comments. So really quick, while you guys are logging on, I am going to grab my laptop so that I can log in from there to see your guys' comments, because I do like the interaction. It does get lonely on this side of the camera, so I do like to be able to read comments and see where you guys are from and know that you're there. So as you come in, make sure you say hello, and hopefully you guys all have your workbook, the Proven Preschool Enrollment Formula, and that you were able to work on it. And let me know if you guys have any questions from yesterday's session. If there's anything, go ahead and type it in the chat. Again, I'm going to just go over this week's agenda, and I'm sorry I'm looking down at my laptop. I'm logging on since my phone isn't allowing me to see who's there, and I can't see you guys, so I am sorry that I'm looking away from you. But let me know. And on Saturday, I will be doing a question and answer portion, and where you guys will be able to log on to Zoom and we'll be able to chat, and you can ask me your questions via Zoom. In the meantime, if you have questions, feel free to put it in the chat, in the comments. I'm more than happy to go in and answer. I do check every day, every morning. I do check the replays to see if you guys have any questions. So again, for this week's agenda, yesterday we talked about your center's superpower and just kind of an overview of what we're looking at today, this week. Today we're going to be talking about how are you standing out from the cloud and how are you being seen, right? And how do you make sure that you are found, the first one found in your area. Wednesday we're going to be talking about intentionally creating your professional persona, and just really into being intentional about your brand and who you are and who you want your center to be. Thursday, we're going to talk about the tour, and we are going to put a COVID spin on things there. And every day this week, I am going to put a little bit of a COVID spin on everything. Let you guys know, how have I adapted? How is my center adapting? How am I leading my team to adapt through COVID? Right, and my director Brandy will probably be on with me. I'm thinking probably Thursday, so she can help explain how we're adapting to COVID through the tour and phone conversations and whatnot. Friday, we are going to talk about follow-up and retention, because getting people to your center, honestly, that is just the first step, right? If you get seen and you get those tours and you get them in, that is really just the first step in order to get the children into your center, and more importantly, to retain them. That is probably the most important component. You can enroll all the children you want, but if you're not retaining them, you have to really know how good is the enrollment, right? So if you're experiencing a revolving door, that's what we're really going to address on Friday. So again, in order for this to work, make sure that you view every single session. I know that it's not realistic to be on every one of them live, but make sure you watch the replays and you do the homework and really engage. I've designed this to really get you thinking, and in order to really put these pieces in place so that you can increase your enrollment and keep it going, right? So the workbook, the homework I'm posting every day, all of it has really been designed to make sure that you get a solid foundation built that you can keep going. But if you miss a unit, you're not going to get the full picture and you won't get full results. So make sure that you are in here and engaging every day. And also, sorry guys, I lost my chain of thought because I saw that we have some comments going through. So it is just important for the participation to be here, just as a thought. So I see Julie. Hello, Julie. Hello, Stephanie. Hi, Sheila. Hi, Corey. Thank you guys for joining. Okay, so today what we're talking about is, I think, each one of these pillars are very, very important, right? And each day I am focusing on a different pillar. When I designed this course, I kind of sat back and thought to myself, what is it that really changed my business? What changed my childcare center from struggling to hit my enrollment capacity, right, to now I have a 300 child wait list? Where did we shift in that? Because my transition happened within the last 5 years. And these are the pillars that I found when I really sat down and thought about it. These are the pillars that we have in place now that I have found has led to our success. And so each day I'm focusing on a different pillar. So that is why each one of these is really, really important. If you just have one in place, it's not going to be the whole picture, right? You're only going to get a piece of the pie, and it's not going to be the entire system, which is why every day is so important. And again, if you don't have a workbook, just let me know. I can message it to you, or I can always email them too. So and let me know. But there is the link to access the workbook is in the unit. If you guys need it, you can go in there and get it faster than me. I basically sit down once every day and send all the workbooks out. So if you want it quicker, you can go into the units tab on our Facebook page. I did create a unit for this enrollment course. Click on the link that says get your workbook here. It'll ask for your email address and then it'll email it to you. So you can go ahead and do that. So today we're going to talk about being seen. And one of the things I really want you guys to think about is, how are you seen? And it's going to really be something that I'm going to change your mindset on, okay? I think a lot of times we think of we've got to advertise and we've got to pay for all this stuff, but really what I want you guys to think about is, how are you going to be seen and stand out from the crowd? So I want you to think, when you need some type of a service, right? Any kind of service, let's say dry cleaner. How do you find a dry cleaner? Some of us may go to the one we drive by all the time, but most of us are going to pull our telephones out and we're going to do a Google search, right? 90% of the time, we are going to do a Google search. We're going to look at Yelp. We're going to look at Google reviews. And I know, like for me personally, I look at reviews a lot. I do rely on Facebook and different reviews, right? So what I'm going to challenge you is to really think about the demographic that we're talking to. And remember that the people who are having children that we serve, these are young children for the most part. Most of us are serving birth through like age 8, right? But the bulk of our children are 0 to 5. People who are having children 0 to 5 statistically are usually in a younger demographic. I know we do get some older parents too, but most of the time they are in that younger demographic. So that being said, how do they find childcare? The first thing they're going to do is open up their phone and Google search you, or they're going to ask Siri, find childcare centers near me, right? that is how the demographic that we are serving is going to locate us. So it is extremely important for you to have a very strong and positive, very well made online presence. And not just a website, we need to have an online presence, right? So I'm going to talk to you guys today a little bit about how we do that. How do you have that really strong online presence? And then after that, once they find you, they're going to pick up the phone and call. That is going to be your first point of contact. So having a very strong phone presence is also very, very important, right, in order to be seen. So what I would challenge you is go take your phone out, take your computer, whatever, when we're done, and Google daycare and then your city. And then I'm gonna say something about that too. So if you're one of my customers or if you work for me, I do train. For me, the word daycare is not allowed at my center. My staff has worked very hard to make sure we are a preschool, right? In our industry as a whole, a lot of us don't like the word daycare because of what society has labeled it as, right? In this case, we've got to get over it. Okay, I'm going to tell you, I'm one of those that, I've been in this industry now for over 20 years, and the longer you've been in this industry, we shy away from that word. But when parents are surveyed, 90% of them, 90% of surveyed parents stated that they see us as daycare. I know as ECE professionals, we want to be seen as childcare centers, preschools, early child development centers, right? There's so many names we go by. But when it comes to marketing, our target audience out there is Googling the word daycare. So in that case, we do need to bring the word daycare into our SEO, which is search engine optimization, right? You want to make sure that you're proficient in that search engine optimization. So something else I'm going to just add on a side note. I normally do not allow too many people to advertise on my Facebook group. But if you notice today, I did allow 2 through today. Usually, if you guys post anything in my group, I personally approve everything that comes into this group to make sure that I can keep the group quality really high, right? Well, today I did allow 2, and I actually did invite 2 different people to post regarding SEO and websites. I actually personally spoke to them. I've seen their work. I have seen the kind of results they pass through. And so I did allow both of them today to post advertisements because I have seen the quality work that they put out. Okay, so just a side note, if you notice, I don't normally allow advertising, but today I did allow that for this reason, because this is what we're talking about today. And sometimes this is just way over our head, right? And so this is one area that sometimes it isn't a bad idea to pay to get somebody to professionally help us. I do my own website, to be honest with you. And so if you guys feel like you are proficient enough, then by all means, do it on your own. There are definitely tips and tricks if you're pretty good on the internet that you can do, but a professional is really, really going to make sure that you get to the top of that SEO. So if you're unsure of yourself, this is one area that isn't a bad idea to invest in. And I did allow those 2 people through because I did see their work ahead of time. I haven't worked with them personally, but I did look at what they put out into the world, and it does look pretty good. So you guys can take a look at them if that's something. But I am going to give you guys some tips on how you can achieve better SEO results than you may currently have, okay? But before you achieve those results, you want to make sure that your customers have somewhere to go. So let me know in the chat, how many of you guys have a website? How many of you have a Facebook page for your center? How many of you guys have a YouTube channel? How many of you have an Instagram and a Twitter? And I mean, just you guys are everywhere, right? And I know a YouTube channel sounds weird, but YouTube is the 2nd largest search engine in the world, 2nd to Google. So that's why a YouTube channel and having a YouTube presence is actually a really good idea, because the search results that come up for YouTube are only 2nd to what Google. So like if you're on Google's list as a registered business, YouTube is usually second. So that is where I would recommend, even if you just put one video, a virtual tour of your center, right? And with your city name and a bunch of tags to get people there, it is the second biggest search engine in the world. So it is important to have a YouTube presence, even if it's just a tour video. So it doesn't have to be a whole lot, just something there. So I want you guys to really look at your websites. Look at your competition's website and make sure it's at least equal, right? We don't really, we want to, I'm never going to suggest that you blow your competition out of the water, because there is enough room for all of us. There are enough children to go around. We can all have, plenty of children. But you definitely want to make sure that your website is at least equal to your competition's website, right? If they have this beautiful, stellar website that has all this information and all this stuff in it, their parents are going to choose them before you. They're going to make that phone call before, if it seems that like they are more accessible, more approachable, right? And again, yesterday I told you to really know who your customer base is. Your website should be a reflection of that, because the people who look at it are looking at different centers' websites, right? So if you really, really know who your target market is and your website is speaking to them, they are going to pick up the phone and call you. So when you're, think about it in those terms. You want to be talking to that specific person, which is why I'm telling you guys, you got to get to know who is your customer, who is that family, right? Which, if you guys looked in your homework, in the workbook, I asked you a lot of strange questions, like what kind of car do they drive? What kind of magazines do they read? It's because I really want you to get to know them so that you're directly talking to them, right? And that is just very, very important. The other thing I would like to talk about on your website, when you design your website, I really want you guys to look at your website and see how diverse it is, and if you are embracing diversity and inclusion. Does your website only feature Caucasian children, right? I can tell you that if it does, you are going to be off-putting a large part of the population. Make sure that everybody feels welcome. Everybody. If it's all just, middle-class looking people that drive Volvos and they're, and if that's your target market, that's what you're going to attract. If you're trying to broaden that target market, you need to make sure you have diversity. You need to make sure that it is diverse. If you're working with somebody, they can definitely help you with that, but you need to make sure that they know. You want to make sure that the pictures in your website are illustrating and they are speaking to a diverse type of people, right? Not just one set of the population. So that is also very, very important. Who are you speaking to? Who are you attracting? All of that is going to come through in our websites. That's also going to come through on our Facebook page. Facebook is also a very powerful search engine. If you do a Google search for your city and childcare, a lot of times you are going to get Facebook pages that come up. And people who are very active in their pages, you're going to notice that they're getting a lot of, they're going to pop up first in the search engine, right? So Facebook, do not underestimate the power of your center's Facebook page, and make sure you're active in it, posting pictures. The most important thing is a lot of words and using those key words that people are searching for. In your website, the other thing that is very helpful when it comes to search engine optimization is the words that you use. Making sure that you're using a variety of words and that you're using those targeted words. One of the things I have in my website is a blog. I literally only wrote about 10 articles, and I mean literally 5 or 6 years ago. And each article is very helpful for parents. It shows that we know what we're doing. It shows that we, have a really good handle in our background. And so I use my blog for a couple reasons. It's showing off my expertise. It's helping parents by providing them with really good information. It helps my center too. A lot of my blog posts are going to be on things like potty training, on how to transition your child into childcare, on what to expect when your child enters childcare, what happens when your child bites, why do you have to pay for a spot even if your child doesn't show up? So I've kind of taken those issues that we deal with a lot of times, and I've turned them into a blog post. There was another one I just thought of that was actually kind of interesting, but that I use all the time for you guys. When you guys message me and ask me for tips on something, I actually send you to my center's blog post I wrote for my center on something. But what you want to do though is make sure that you're putting a lot of those different words in there, like childcare, daycare, preschool, right? Parenting, 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, toddler. So if a parent is Googling childcare for my 2-year-old in Miami, Florida, right? You want to make sure that you have those words somewhere so that your website is popping up in the search. The more words are on your website that pertain to what parents might be searching for, the more you're going to be popping up. Do not let the blog idea get you overwhelmed. You don't have to, it's not something that you have to write a monthly blog on or whatnot. Just have enough in there. Like for mine, I literally wrote like 10, and that's what my blog, that's it. They're just in there, they live there forever. Sometimes I go in and update them if things change, but that's all they are. I don't write a weekly blog. I don't even write an annual blog, to be honest with you. They're really just there for search engine optimization. And I did intentionally, though, pick the subjects I wrote in order to show my area of expertise, right? In order to show my credibility and to really let parents know that I know what I'm talking about, I know what I'm doing, and that we really love and care for these children. So those are the things to think about when you're doing your blog. And it's not hard, you guys. Even if you do get somebody to help you with writing and creating your website, just let them know that you want to do a blog. Write a couple things up, even if it's just 3 or 4, and give it to them. They can definitely do that for you. So let me know if that information is helpful for you guys, and if you have any questions on the blog. I can share my website with you guys so you can see ideas that I have. You could even get contributing authors like your lead teachers and whatnot. Different things like that is actually something that's pretty helpful. Oh, and Nikki's on. I see. Hi, Nikki. Yes, I was just talking, Nikki. So Nikki is one of the people I allowed to advertise on my Facebook page because I have seen her work and it is stellar. One of my clients actually has used Nikki as her website designer, and her website is absolutely stellar. So Nikki is one of the ones that I have allowed to advertise, and I am very picky, you guys, about who I allow to advertise. So I have heard wonderful things about her. Okay, so moving on. The other thing you can do to make sure that you're really optimizing your search engine results is make sure you're registered with as many of the professional organizations as you can, like care.com. Some of the other ones are like the Yellow Pages, Yelp. Make sure that you have your business registered on Yelp so you can really monitor those reviews and control them. Unfortunately, in the society we live in now, people tend to only do reviews when they have something negative to say. It feels like that, right? So with Yelp, I definitely like that control. I get emails if somebody posts a review. That way I can see it. If somebody posts something crazy, I can have it removed. I'll tell you guys the craziest story. One of my teachers years ago had a stalker. I kid you not, she had a stalker. And the stalker had been trying to get me to fire her for a while, but I wouldn't do it. I mean, she was a great teacher, amazing person, great teacher. And so the stalker went and actually started writing reviews about my center everywhere because I would have, and she literally was writing like that my teacher was this horrible person, and it was the craziest thing. Because I get instant notification of reviews, I was able to dispute it and get all of those reviews throughout Google, Yelp, and different places removed immediately. So that's why you really want to make sure your accounts are registered. You can go in and register your business. You claim actually as the owner of the company. That way you have control and you can see what is coming in and out, and you can respond to anything that might be negative. And no matter what, you guys, we could be stellar all the time, the perfect center, and somebody's going to find something to criticize us on. Just brace yourself for that and know. as long as the good outweighs the bad, I think that is what we really want to focus on, is making sure we have more good than we have bad. So just make sure to go onto those sites. So one of the things I would suggest doing is Google childcare and your city's name and see what paid websites come up. You're going to see, let's see, I made a list of them here for you guys. Things like care.com, childcarecenter.us, Yellow Pages, and there's a couple other ones. Those are all free too. Go in and create a profile on each one of those, because those they actually pay Google and whatnot to come up first. And if you create a profile with them that you're in control of, then your center will come up first within those sites, right? So like for the Yellow Pages, if somebody Googles, their Yellow Pages is going to pop up your center first if you're registered with them. And if you keep up and make sure that you have a current profile with them. The other thing on that is just really keeping up with it. Like if your hours change and whatnot, make sure that you're just keeping that current. One of the things I also do to make sure that we do get good reviews is I do ask my parents to write us reviews. And a couple times a year, I will put a competition out. And I will just say something like, you know, if you write a review for me on Yelp, Google, Yellow Pages, whatever, I will enter you into a drawing for $25 off your tuition. Okay, anything. You guys can think of anything. I've done $10. People just love winning something. So what I do is for each site, they actually go and write a review, and it's got to be 5-star, right? We want those 5-star reviews. Every time I ask them for a 5-star review, their name, they'll get like a ticket into a drawing. Okay. The other thing I've done is I actually create QR codes, which is very easy. Just Google free QR codes and you'll see. And by the way, if you guys don't know, QR codes are those little blocks that you can scan with your phone. And when you scan it, it makes a website come up instantly or a company's app. So you'll see them like when you go to the grocery store or whatnot, there's little codes that you can just scan and open. So what I've done, and when you're creating a QR code, they are so simple. You literally cut and paste those sites that you want to have the parent directed to. You put it in this free QR code directory and it generates it for you. So easy. So what I've done is I've gone to like my center's Yelp. I've created a QR code for my center's Yelp, and I will actually put it out on the front desk where the parents are logging in and out and saying, hey, enter into a drawing by giving us a 5-star review. All they have to do is take their phone, scan it, it's up for them. They don't even have to type out any of the results, right? Or I'll go into our parents' Facebook group and just put something up there like, you know, here's the link, give us a 5-star review, get entered into a drawing. And that really helps a lot to make sure that you keep getting, and you get a lot of those good reviews, right? And when you do get a negative review, or if you do, you'll have so many positive reviews that the negatives will just be drowned out. So it's a really good way to just get those positive reviews. So I'm going to look to see really quick if anybody has any questions for me or any comments. So what do you guys think so far? Is that information pretty helpful, I hope? And let's see. Yes, Facebook is just not going to be my friend today. It's telling me I have 14 comments, but it will only show me 4. So I'm sorry if I'm not keeping up with your comments, you guys, since it's not showing me live. And I will go through what I've done and answer any comments or questions that you guys might have throughout this presentation. So moving on, let's see. We talked about search engine. We've talked about our social media presence. The other thing is to make sure that you are registered with different associations in your area, different affiliates, subsidy programs, and whatnot, right? So especially subsidy programs, because a lot of times parents will call them looking for a child care center. So you want to make sure you're registered. Even if you don't take the subsidy, make sure you're at least registered. If there's any other type like the Easter seals, for us, we have like our early intervention office, any of the local colleges. You want to call them and see, how do I register my center with you? It's just more people putting your name in their website, or if they're getting phone calls, it's just more people where you're in somebody else's directory. You just want your company's name in just lots and lots of directories. So that's just another tip I have for you guys. So I'm going to move on now to the phone call. So once you've been found online, once they've found your website, they think you're a good fit, now they're going to make the phone call, right? If you're anything like me, and most people are, we are going to call more than one center. We're not just going to call the first center that pops up on our Google, but we do want to be the first, right? We want to be in the radar, but parents are going to call around. They're going to tour around, which is why the phone call is so very important. And I'll tell you guys a story, interesting story. So my center here in Fernley, I actually used to own a different center. And one day, a parent called me, and they said, you know, and at the time, the center I own now, it was a brand new, gorgeous building. It cost millions to build, so it's actually beautiful, right? And they called me, and they said, you know, I called that new center, but the people answering the phone were just so unfriendly and so unprofessional that I really don't even feel comfortable going there. So they and actually we'd been talking for a little bit and stuff, but you've been so kind and professional that I just think I want to enroll my child now. So I mean, before even the tour, it was just that comparison on our phone persona. I cannot stress to you guys enough. The phone is the first kind of actual live content and the live contact a person is going to have with you, right? So that phone call is so very important. Making sure that it's answered every time it rings. My husband used to tease me about this all the time, but my husband has ran some major corporations and he's managed some major corporations. So when I first was an owner and we were really busy, I would tell him, like, the phone isn't my concern, and, you know, I'll return phone calls, the answering machine's getting it. And he used to tell me all the time, oh no, the phone is your bread and butter. You've got to treat it like gold. At the time, I didn't understand. Now, as I've been an owner for many years, I get it. The phone is huge, you guys. It is the first impression of your center. So making sure you have a really solid professional phone persona is so very important. If you allow other people to answer your phone, I would absolutely recommend training them. Make sure they know how to answer the phone, how they are portraying themselves over the phone. I know in centers it's really hard, right? Working in childcare is a certain amount of chaos, right? We work within organized chaos all the time. We are used to that. We understand that. We get that. But the public doesn't. And so you have to think of how are they perceiving what they hear in the background, right? Very important to think about. If you are in a classroom and there's a bunch of screaming and crying and you know it's under control because your teachers have got this and they're doing great, but the parent hears that, what are they thinking? It just sounds like it's a chaotic company, right? They're not looking at your everyday. They don't understand our industry. They're not in it every single day. And we get so numb to being in the trenches every day and to being there that we forget what parents are seeing for the first time and the culture shock, right? Think about a brand new teacher who's never worked in childcare. It is a huge amount of culture shock. Think about this for a parent. A parent is trusting you with the most important part of their lives. So you don't want to shock them with the culture of the center over the phone. You'll lose that tour. You won't even get to the tour, right? So when you answer the phone, you want to make sure it sounds professional, even if you have to step out. And I do have to say, if you absolutely can't and it sounds like absolute chaos in the background, that is when I would let it go to the answering machine. You just don't want to make that bad first impression, right? And I can tell you, if there's children crying in the background, even if there's another teacher rocking the baby or whatever that's crying, the parent is going to perceive it as you answered that phone and didn't take care of that child, right? So if you do get in a position that you have to do it, acknowledge it. Like, I am so sorry, I know there's a baby, but don't worry, there's a child, you know, a teacher has her, she is being well taken care of. absolutely acknowledge it. Don't ignore it if it does happen to happen. But just be really mindful of what perception is this parent going to have when they answer the phone. It's a very, very important aspect of making sure that you are portraying a professional persona for that first impression, right? So when you answer the phone too, make sure that you answer it introducing yourself. You want to build rapport from the get-go. You absolutely want to start off by building rapport and making sure that you are establishing a relationship from the get-go. So I actually have my center, we use a phone script, and I do actually have a copy for you guys that I will be posting in the unit for enrollment. And in my phone script that I've created for my staff who's answering the phone, I even have things like, the first thing it says is be sure to take notes so that you do not need to ask the caller to repeat themselves. And if you see on camera, I even have, well, can you see? You guys can barely see it. I even have lines where they can fill out the names. Okay, so to answer, we would say, thank you for calling my child care center. My name is, can I ask your name? The reason that I make my staff ask the person's name is to build that rapport and that relationship, right? But I also tell them, write down their name. If you're going to ask them their name, you better not forget it. So write it down. So you're going to build that rapport. They know your name, you know their name, right? And then one of the things we do is we ask, in case we get disconnected, can I get your phone number so I can call you back? That way that you open that line of communication and you can call them back just in case. And then after that, that is when we say, how can I help you, Marge, or whoever the person is on the other line, right? You want to use their name. So throughout my script, I do have places here where I do instruct my staff to use the person's name. So that is so very important. So one of the things I'd really recommend too is listen more than you talk, okay? Listen to what the parents' needs are. Ask questions that are really going to help them to explain their needs and really just point it out to you. So you're going to listen more than you talk. That is a very important point, okay? Ask leading questions that gets them talking more. You're going to make them feel like you're really hearing them, that you're building that rapport, and that you care about their child and what they want to say. When you ask information about their child, make sure you write it down. Write down that child's name. Ask them the child's name. You are taking care of their children. It's so very important not to forget the child's name and their age. Okay, so write it down, ask them the name, refer to them. So yes, little Billy would actually be in my giraffes classroom, since that's my 2-year-old classroom. I think, and then just go on like that. When we end the call, I also make sure that my staff uses the person's name again. So there's just 3 different areas throughout the script where they're going to use the person's name they're talking to. So very important. Again, I will add the script for you guys that I do have my staff using now. One of the things too is in order to make sure that our phones are always getting answered, I did put phones in every single classroom. And not all of them not all the teachers answer the phone, but as a director especially, you guys know what it's like. You guys are all over the building, right? So in order to ensure that you're able to get to the phone, if you have cordless phones in every classroom, you never have to worry about running all the way back to your front office and then you've missed the call, right? So if you have phones in close enough proximity, you'll be able to get the phone. Hi, Kristen. I see Kristen just popped on. Kristen used to be my assistant director. And a funny story on that, I used to get her and when Brandy, I used to actually tell them I was going to get them headsets so that they had to wear the headset all the time. And I think they probably were not happy with me back then when I told them that they were going to have to wear a headset to make sure that the phones always were answered. Excuse me, guys. My sinuses have been terrible, so I've been having a hard time losing my voice for the last couple days. I decided to go to the lake this weekend, and ever since then, I have been losing my voice. But it has been really stormy here. Well, windy. It's been just crazy windy here, so I don't know. It's been weird. Okay, so getting back on track. So with the phone. So I will give you guys the phone script so that you guys have it and you can see exactly how we deal with it at my center and how we actually go through that together. And that's all I have to say. Like, basically is just making sure that you are absolutely professional when it comes to the phone call. The other thing on the phone call is follow-up. Follow-up is so very important. Remember at the beginning of the conversation, I had you guys get their phone number, right? So if the person's going to come for a tour, one of the things that I would recommend with tours is try to schedule the tour. Try to get them to commit to a time to come down, right? But I always tell the people on the phone that we do have an open door policy. I want to make sure the parents always feel welcome within my center, so they are welcome to come by any time that is convenient from them. We do suggest they avoid nap time because they won't get to see the classrooms in action, but trying to get a commitment. Now, I know through COVID, we can't do live tours, right? So we have to be creative. And I will talk to you guys a little bit about that on, I believe that one is, let's see, is the tour tomorrow or did I do the tour Thursday? That is actually on Thursday. We'll talk about the tour Thursday. So how are we dealing with tours now? I will go into that in detail. But normally, non-COVID times, what I would recommend is trying to get them to commit, just because the follow-through, if somebody has an appointment, will be greater with them actually showing up to your center and touring. But making them feel like I have nothing to hide, you know, you're welcome anytime, because parents are always welcome where their children will be cared for. I think it's just very, as a parent myself, that is something that I was very sensitive to when my children were little. I would never take my child to a place where I couldn't just pop in. I would always want to be able to check on my children at any time. I know COVID's different. That's changed everything. But there are things we can do to help parents through the COVID changes. So I would definitely recommend, though, even if it's just, you know, getting them to come in and sign up and just having a meeting with you in your office, you definitely want that face-to-face in order to build rapport. That rapport building right off the bat is huge in choosing, because they are probably going to tour multiple centers, which is fine. They should. And they should choose what center works best for their families. But you want to make sure you build that rapport, so if they're on the fence and they're just not sure, they can lean your way. That also brings me back to follow-up. If you give them a call when they come in, it's really, really important, because if they don't come for the tour or whatnot, just call them and say, hey, we talked a couple days ago and you were going to come in for a tour. We haven't seen you yet. Do you have any questions, any concerns, anything else I can provide you with? That's all. Just showing them that you really are interested and you remember them, right? Follow-up is huge. And I am going to talk a little bit more about follow-up on Friday's session, because that can actually be the game changer for you, is follow-up. It is awesome. So that is pretty much what I have for you guys today on being the internet presence and your phone presence. That is pretty much it. So again, feel free to leave questions in the comments. I will be going through it. I will be posting the homework tonight, just for you guys to think about. Make sure you've got your workbook, you're getting that work done, and I will be posting out the phone script for you guys to have. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. Again, I will be here tomorrow at 4 p.m. and I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Thank you.